We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, grounding in the center makes you a master. Grounding in the center makes you a master. Life moves in two aspects, or it has two aspects. One is circumference, the other is center. First, you have to reach to the center, and then from the center your journey towards, from the circumference you have to reach first. From the circumference your journey to the center can begin. And when the journey has begun and you reach to the center, then you have to be grounded in it. How does it happen? On a day-to-day basis, existence, circumstances and situations are created for you to come to this circumference. But when you, because of a particular circumstance and situation, has reached to the circumference, you can begin your journey towards the center, or you can remain on the circumference. You have to reach the circumference first, and without reaching to the circumference, your journey from circumference to the center cannot begin. The journey to reach to the circumference differs from the journey when you are moving from circumference to the center. It is very easy to reach to the circumference because you are operating in the outer world of objects and beings. It is not difficult to reach this circumference as the journey from circumference to the center is. On a day-to-day basis, I come across this situation when someone mentions something. I cannot take on this person anymore. I am feeling suffocated. I cannot do this, cannot do that. I have to continue this kind of life for how long? This is, you have to remember, you are reaching to the circumference. So this particular circumstance and situation that has come in your life is the way to reach to the circumference. You can remain there grumbling, or you can begin your journey from circumference to the center. Does situation like these do not come in your life? And what you do? You remain on the circumference, finding no way out. The way out is to move from circumference to the center so that you can become the master. And once you have known the art of grounding in the center, you can become the master. Otherwise, you will remain circling on the periphery. Now, you look at it, each point on the circumference can be connected to the center, is connected to the center through an invisible line of radius. but you are unaware of it. On a day-to-day basis, how many such situations come in your life? You are interacting with your children, your husband, your wife, your spouse, your employer, employee, driving on the road. You are encountering these situations that come like a point on the circumference. And what happens to you? How do you interact? Someone writes a big, this size message. Sheikh, I cannot take on this anymore. I am feeling suffocated. You forget this is the point, the way existence has brought you to the circumference. One point. From that point, if you reach to the center, your journey is different. Reaching to the circumference is not in your hand, it's not conscious. It comes through the interaction with the other. Maybe your husband, maybe your spouse, maybe your wife, maybe your children. So that person has brought you to the circumference. This is unconscious. But your journey from circumference to the center is a conscious process that only you can do. Your husband, your spouse, no one can help you to reach to the center. Certainly, that person can create for you a situation that your journey to the circumference can begin. All those who have attained to their innerness, know that how to reach from circumference to the center. One night, Buddha, when Gautam was born, astrologers said that he will be either recluse or an emperor. But the possibility of him becoming the recluse is more. So his father asked, what are the options? Because Gautam, Siddhartha was his only son and he did not want his son to be a recluse. So he said, create every single situation that he does not see any unpleasant, unnatural situation in life. So a palace was built. They ate, drink and be merry, all kind of happiness, so he cannot see any sorrow. The plants, the gardeners used to work throughout the night to remove all the yellow petals, leaves, because who knows, seeing a yellow leaf, Gautam, Siddhartha may ask, why the leaf turns yellow? It was green, why it turned yellow? Or, so that particular night there was, so-called in our way, a party. Drinking this and that. So after the party was over, everyone was drunk. So all those beautiful faces were lying on the ground, mouth slightly open, flies hovering around the mouth. Buddha saw this. He called his charioteer, went with him for a stroll. On the way, he saw 3 incidents. It is said they were the masters of the past who created the situation for Buddha's journey from circumference to the center. So when your husband is creating that situation or your wife is creating that situation, that you cannot take on anymore, that makes you suffocated. It is, understand, at that particular moment, a master of the past has entered, is operating through that person to begin your journey from circumference to the center. Be thankful to the person. Buddha saw a sick man. He asked, "What is this?" He said, charioteer said, "He is sick." "So does everyone get sick?" Charioteer said, could not say otherwise. "Yes, everyone gets sick." Then he saw an old man. "Who is this? This is an old man. Does everyone gets old?" "Yes, master." "Yes, Siddhartha." Then he saw a dead man, a funeral going on. "What is this? This man is dead." "Oh, does everyone die?" "Yes." Immediately, Buddha decided, then I must go in search of that which is never born, never dies, which never undergoes change, that does not turn yellow. What turns yellow? What gets sick? What dies? The circumference. Center always remains. The circumference can change. You can draw another circumference around that center. Just by varying the radius, the distance from center to the circumference, you can draw infinite circumferences. There are infinite circumferences around you. But where you are standing, from that point your journey has to begin to the center. Journey is one aspect of life. So when your spouse, your husband, your wife creates a situation for you when you are feeling suffocated, you cannot take it anymore, how long you have to continue this kind of life? It is realized that it is the moment when your journey from circumference to center is about to begin. But it will not begin on its own. You have to make an effort. Buddha said, then I need not return to the palace. I have to go in search of that which never born, never dies. Mind is born every moment. Mind is taking birth in you, and the next moment it disappears, like pages of the mind are opening. When one particular circumstance and situation comes, a page is open. You are reading, you are watching the pictures on that page, and then you are lost into it. You forget all about that you are aspiring for a spiritual life. You get stuck on that photograph, on that page, or whatsoever is written on that, because that circumstance and situation, that words of your spouse has opened that page for you. Does it not happen? And what you do in that moment? Get stuck into it. Unless someone reminds you. Buddha, nobody has to remind Buddha for that. A circumstance and situation was created for Buddha to realize that what is his path. He is not here to become an emperor and live life like anybody else. He is on a different journey. So each one of you is on a different journey. How far you can travel, it depends on your aspiration, your effort, an opportunity that you create for yourself. If from every point on the circumference means how many situations like this comes on a day-to-day basis, have you realized that? And how many situations make you stuck on the page that is opened on the circumference that moment? Hours pass, you forget all about. The other way is that from that point, that page, as it opens, your journey begins. You reach to the center. But your process of grounding in the center has not begun. Then with an awareness, you can start grounding in the center. Then you become the master. Whatsoever circumstance and situation comes, you need not run to the master. You are capable of handling it on your own. As long as you are not in that position, that means you are stuck on the circumference. Journey is one aspect of life. Your journey towards center begins with birth. Journey alone is not the way. Outside the circumference, what is this? The realm of chaos, disharmony, pain. And in that moment, you are pulled by the gravitational pull of the earth element in your being, your vulnerability, through which you interact. These bring pain and creates a situation of chaos in you. When you reach the circumference, you enter a new pull. This pull emanates from the center. First, the way to reach to the circumference is interacting in the outer world of objects and beings. You are being pulled by the gravitational pull of the earthly element of your being. Earthly element of the being means you cannot live without a man or a woman. You have to get a job. You have to reach to the work. You need to know the driving. For living, you have to do many things. So these are the gravitational pull of the earthly elements of your being, so through which you have to interact. You cannot be in the world and be not pulled by the gravitational pull of the earthly elements or interact with him, with the people. When you are driving on the road where there are other drivers also driving on the road. You have to deal with each one of them. How you interact in that moment when someone gives you a bad drive or takes a sharp cut and you almost found that you are about to hit that person. How do you respond to it? This is a situation created to see how far you are progressed. Unless and until these situations are created, you can sit down in your office and say, I am very spiritual. I am doing this, I am doing that. Unless you give yourself an opportunity to see how you will interact in that particular situation, people come to the master saying that I have done this, so much of zikr, so much of chanting, so much of this, so much of read these scriptures. But the moment a piece of stone is thrown into the tranquil water, the ripples start on to the surface. All that happiness, all that harmony disappears as if it never existed. when you reached, so these circumstances and situations that you cannot avoid on a day-to-day basis. When whatever is your field, you have to go to work. In order to go to the work, you have to ride your vehicle. So you, at the 11th hour, you are ready to start the vehicle. You realize that the vehicle is not starting, or the garage not opening, or there is traffic on the road. Then your office asks, what time are you reaching? I am stuck in the traffic. Why did you leave at the 11th hour? There are ways and means now. There are so many apps available. You can see, and you, with your own understanding, you will know what are the peak hours of traffic and what are the not the peak hours. So you can start your work that way. My father, when he used to go to work, he used to reach, the office was to start 8 o'clock or 7. He will reach 9:30, never before. And when there are everyone in the office, you have other social working meetings, this and that. You do not get enough time to work. So when the office closes 4 o'clock, then from 4 to 6, he will stay in the office to finish his work. So he is avoiding the traffic going to the office and coming from the office. So he was given a special privilege. So you have to be aware of that. Then who is to be blamed for that? The car not starting, garage not opening, traffic on the road. You have not checked all those things. Then when you reach the circumference, you enter a new pull. First you have to reach to the circumference. On a day-to-day basis, you must go to work. You must go to the kitchen. You have to go to the vegetable shop or the grocery to buy the grocery. This is the way you are reaching to the circumference. But each time you reach to the circumference, because of the gravitational pull of the earthly element, you have not learned to begin your journey towards the center. So unless your journey begins towards the center, how can you be grounded? You will remain circling in the circumference. You know there is a particular time, there is a traffic in this supermarket, but you are going during the traffic time, and then you have the traffic on the road. There are a number of customers in the supermarket. Why don't you choose an hour when there is less traffic on the road, less customers in the store, shelves are full? So it is you to be blamed. So first you have to reach to the circumference. So this is because you need to eat, so you have to go to the restaurant. You need to live your life, so you have to go to work. So this is the way to reach to the circumference. Now you have to, another journey will begin from circumference to the center. A new pull, you will enter a new pull. This pull emanates from the center. Now center is pulling you towards itself. This is the pull of grace, pull of bliss that comes from your center. Center is graceful towards you It can come because of the master. It can come because of your center, because your center is the master. And the outside master is a replica of that inner center, inner master in you. This is the moment of meditativeness. This is the moment of introspection. For the first time, something beyond imagination begins to happen. You are at a threshold. You feel intoxicated. An awakened one calls you from this place. What happened? Buddha was going to the circumference. Had he not gone to the circumference on that stroll after that night party, that he would have not reached the circumference. And if he had not reached the circumference, how the center will pull him? So when he is there, there is a call from within, from the master in you, the replica of that master in the outer around you. You feel intoxicated. An awakened one calls you from this center. This call comes every moment. Once you are able to listen to the small voice of this coming from the center, he is not letting you to continue your journey on your own. The channel from circumference to the center is part dark, part light. Fear and indecision grips you as you stand on the shore from where your journey has to begin. So the point on the circumference is the shore where you are standing. The center is calling you. There is a fear, there is indecision that grips you standing on the shore. This is a very delicate moment. Your trust and love will lead you towards the journey to the center. That's where the master is needed. In the absence, you can delay or outrightly deny this journey from circumference to the center. All is within your hand. I gave you opportunity whenever any situation like this comes and you cannot handle it on its own. You are free to give me a call or send me a message. Don't think these are just useless talks or there is no need. Whenever you are not able to handle the situations, you are free to give your master a call and he must respond to it. The moment you have sent him a message, it is received in his email. Whether he looks at it or not, it is registered in the system that it has been received. Part work is done. This is a very delicate moment. Your trust and love will lead you along the journey to the center. In the absence, you can deny or outrightly deny the journey. All is in your hand. It is only when you reach to the center that the journey of lives, that is the journey of lives, journey of pain, journey of chaos comes to an end. At times you experience that. The darkness, the dawn of awakening is coming. The dark moments are disappearing. Journey of chaos comes to an end. You have arrived home, maybe for a moment, and then you have to go on another journey. But you can rest here for some time. It is from this place, the center, you interact in the outer world of objects and beings. Then a situation comes that you become the master. This becomes your permanent abode. And every time when you come out of that, you come out of your bedroom to go, and you are in constant honeymoon. Honeymoon with your being. Honeymoon with your awareness, with your innerness. This place is my resting place for me. When I speak to you, when I interact with you, or whatever be my way of interaction, whatever be my way of interaction that differs from person to person, I emerge only for that period that may be necessary for me to come and interact with you. Only when I emerge from that space that you will find me. Otherwise, you can never find the traces of the Master. You will never find my traces. My resting place remains hidden from human cognition. My resting place remains hidden from my cognition. You may see that I am in my office. That is the outward dimension of my resting place. But I am resting somewhere else. When I see you are trying to approach the circumference, I rush to the circumference and wait to take you with me to the center. When I see you trying to reach to the circumference, trying to reach to the point where you have to interact with someone, the awareness I try to rush to the circumference beforehand and wait for you, wait to take you with me to the center. But I am waiting there at the doorstep for you, at the circumference for you, when you are going to interact with this person at this moment. But you have to reach there. If you don't reach, I am supposed to meet you at this junction. But you change the direction and you take the another route. How would you meet me there? But then something else happens and I have to return empty-handed. Then I wait. In the process, I may not be around. Now I am around. I am available, waiting for you on the circumference to take you, hold your hand and take you back to the center. Then you have to wait again. For how long? Nothing can be said. You have to begin your journey once again. And thus lives and lives, you continue to journey. You have to, first you have to reach to the circumference, and then when your journey begins from circumference, you have to leave all attachment of the circumference, all and detach yourself completely from the periphery. Once you can detach your alignment, your alienation, your completely from the circumference, once it is, then you will realize that the circumference is dependent on the center. Without the center, the circumference cannot exist. Can it be? But center can exist without circumference. So the two have to be detached. Right now, your center and circumference are connected to one another. When the circumference disappears, you are only aware of the center. You can remain then and only then you are the master. You can remain undisturbed in anger, in desire, you can play with the desires, you can play with anger, you can play with disturbances like an actor performing on the stage. The world is fine a stage on which we come to act our part. Then do the most of what ye may, cause frigid claws of death may soon descend and seal your humble fate. Then you shan't have time to mend. Then you shan't have time to mend. You have given an opportunity to act on this stage. The two actors are there, you and your spouse. You have to say your dialogue. He has to say his dialogue. And then, are you operating from your center, from your understanding? So a script is written for that. You have to speak this dialogue. Your director, your master, your center is the director that has given the script and dialogue for you. But you forget that dialogue at that moment. You say something else. But when you know how to remember that dialogue and it comes naturally out of you, you can remain undisturbed in anger, in desire, in anything. You can play with those. This technique is to create a feeling of two extremes within you. They are there like polar opposites. To be happy or not happy. Once you become aware of this polarity, you can become for the first time the master of yourself. You know, while interacting in the world of objects and beings, two polarities, they are there, they are constantly creating things in a balance, the north and south pole. You can gravitate towards the north pole, riding the magnetic flux charge, magnetic field, or you can gravitate towards the south pole. So when you are interacting with that person, be it your spouse, be it a circumstance and situation, be it sentient object or insentient, the two poles are there. The magnetic flux charge is moving from there. A elliptical path is created. You can ride over that path to reach to this polar extremity or that. You can gravitate towards happiness or sorrow. It all depends on you, how you gravitate. There are two polar opposites. Once you become aware of this polarity, you can become for the first time, you are aware of this magnetic flux charge. You know how to reach here. You know now from here you reach to the here. Now from here you can reach to this. If you are depending on where you are, always it moves clockwise, not anti-clockwise. Your wife knows, your son knows, your father knows, your friend knows that you can be pulled and pushed. That is what happens. Your spouse says something, so he used the remote control, your screen change. And you become very wise at that moment. Consider yourself to be wise. I cannot continue like this. How long do I have to continue? I feel suffocated every moment. So your wisdom starts. But what kind of wisdom is this? Don't you call it asinine wisdom? Everyone knows how to pull you and push you. You can be disturbed. You can be made happy or unhappy. If someone else can make you happy or unhappy, you are not a master. If someone changes your screen, you are not the master. You are just a slave. Do you want to live? Then don't tell me or send me the message that I don't want to remain a slave. What are you doing to be a master? Are you making an effort to be the master of circumstances and situations? The other has a hold on you right now. Just by a single gesture, he can make you unhappy. Single word comes like a pebble thrown in the tranquil water that you feel that it is very tranquil. Just as the past masters appeared as a sick man in front of Buddha, so that Buddha can be pulled towards the center. He was aware. But when this particular situation is created by the existence for you to move to the center, you are not aware at that moment. So you are just at the mercy of someone else. The other can do anything with you, and this is the very situation that you are in. Then all your actions, reactions are simply reactions, not responses. You simply react. If someone insults you, you become angry. Your anger is not an action, it is a reaction. If someone appreciates you, you start smiling and feeling good, great, and you consider when every time these people come in, you feel that I am growing spiritually very good. This is reaction, not action. I'll give you an example from the life of Buddha. Every morning Buddha will dress up, put on his cloak, take his begging bowl, and take his walking the staff, and move in a particular direction which was not settled. So this morning he reached to a village where he was not supposed to reach. A crowd gathered. They were all against him and they insulted him. Buddha listened to them and said, I have to reach to another village in time. So can I go now? If you have already said all that you have to say, these are not mere words. These are that you have to learn. You have to fertilize. You have to allow these to sink into you, grow into you, and blossom as flowers to spread their beauty and fragrance. If it is finished, then I can move on. Or if you still have to say something, I will be returning the same way, and I'll wait here for you to say whatever you have to say, whatever you could not say now. This surprised those persons. They could not understand. They have been insulting Buddha, using obscene words, abusing him. So they said, but we are not saying anything to you good. We are abusing and insulting you. Buddha said, you can do that. But if you want my reaction, this word is sentence, what I am going to say now is very important. You can say whatever you want to say. If you wanted my reaction, it is too late. Had you come 10 years ago, I would have given you a cuff. You have been late in coming and telling me these things. 10 years before, if you had come to me with such words, I would have reacted. But now I have learned how to act, how to respond. I am a master of myself now. You cannot force me to do anything. But is it your situation? So you have to go back. You cannot disturb me now. Nothing can disturb me now because I have known my center and I'm grounded in my center and I'm the master of my center. This knowing of the center, this grounding of the center makes you a master. Otherwise, you will remain slave. As such as you are slave to sentient and insentient, to objects and beings. You are slave to your husband, to your father, to your mother, to your brother, to your sister, to your employer, to your employee, to another commuter on the road, another driver on the road, another commuter in the subway, or wherever you go. Otherwise, and not only of one master, but you are slave to many masters. You are slave to your wife, you are slave, so wife is your master. You are slave to your husband who is your master. You are slave to your children who are your master. You are slave to the other driver on the road. You are slave to other employer and employees on the road. How many masters you have? So, with so many masters pulling you in many directions, each moment you are never together. You are never in harmony. You are never in unity. Pulled in so many directions, anguish and chaos is your way. Only a master of oneself can transcend anguish, can transcend chaos, can transcend anger, can transcend desire. Only this much for this morning. I had mentioned that I will continue again. Then certain things happened with certain people. So it was necessary for me to speak more. You may see my word, my post on the, you may like it, but you do not know what does it mean. What it is, you may be seeing it on the circumference. The words are very pleasing, very pleasant. Yes, it does something. But if you consciously interact with those words, it will bring transformation, set the process of transformation in you. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.